If you're feeling burnt out, meaning beyond tired, still showing up, but not feeling like yourself, if you feel stuck because of life circumstances, today is for you. And if you're wondering if you're alone in this feeling, it's not just you. Multiple studies in 2024 showed that 66% of people feel burnt out, either from work or parenting or just life. They are exhausted and see no end in sight. And as a pastor, I can say from personal experience, I talk to so many people who are looking for help with burnout. Or actually, I should say that differently. They honestly don't know if there's help for them, but a tiny part hopes it will someday get better. I've been there. I'm going to say something maybe your pastor shouldn't say. I have been and am currently in a season where I am close to feeling burnt out. So I want to share with you the things that help me get back to feeling good and energized and hopeful when the pressures of life start to get crispy. So, because it's not just praying more or reading your Bible more. Those are the original sources, of course, but there are specific things we need to do when we are way past our limits. When we get to burnout, we need a new way. We can no longer do things as we've been doing them. I'll show you what I mean. So first of all, there are moments in the Bible that stay with me and pop back into my head when I need them. One of those is in John 5. It's a day when Jesus is walking in Jerusalem near a pool named Bethesda. Now he's walking through these columns that are all around the pool. And then between the columns, as he walks, he sees disabled, paralyzed, and sick people. People who are hoping for healing, or at least a little donation, a little help from someone who's walking by. They are there because this pool has a special reputation. Every once in a while, the water stirs, and it's said that the first person to reach the water when it stirs will be healed. Jesus is walking through, and his eyes lock on one man, an invalid. Jesus learns that this man has been in his condition for 38 years. Jesus walks up to this man, leans down so the man knows Jesus is talking to him, and asks him one question. Do you want to get well? Do you want to get well? When I am nearing burnout, this question will return to me. I pray it comes to you with all the love and force Jesus means it. Do you want to get well? Now, it's not an insult. It's an invitation. The invalid replies, Sir, I have no one to help me into the pool when the water stirred. While I am trying to get in, someone else goes down ahead of me. He does not answer Jesus' question. Instead, he tells a well-rehearsed story. Imagine you are this man. You're in survival mode. Something is wrong with you. You're not well. So you make your way to this place you've heard can heal you. You bring your mat and you grab a spot and you wait. And you wait and wait, but you never get what you need. You're never the first one to the water. It's always someone else who gets what they need. It's never your turn, never the right time. There's no one to help you. So you practice your speech about why your life is the way it is. You rehearse it until you can repeat it for the strangers who happen by, so at least you can get a little money. Not healing, not enough to make you well, but at least a little help. You rehearse and you repeat that story until one day you forget that any other story was or is possible. This is just your life now. You watch other people live, you watch other people be healed, and you scrape by, kind of wasting away. Burnout is beyond overwork. It is beyond anxiety. It's when you go on low power mode and only your most basic functions work to try to save battery before it goes out completely. This man is exhausted. He's burnt out on trying. Can you relate? A definition of burnout is a state of physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual exhaustion, usually caused by chronic, unrelenting stress, especially in environments where your effort consistently outweighs your support, rest, and sense of purpose. Burnout. It's caused by all kinds of things: chronic stress without proper recovery, a lack of control, feeling helpless, ongoing anxiety, unprocessed trauma, compassion fatigue, overwhelming responsibility. And then we wrap some of that all up inside a body that we ignore, and we burn out. And then what makes it worse is when we are burnt out, we get stuck. We get stuck in a story about ourselves and the situation, and we believe that's all that is possible. We're so exhausted that we are totally stuck. So I have to ask you, what's the story you believe right now that is keeping you stuck? Other people have it worse. I should be able to handle this. Or if I just push a little longer, it'll get better. If I step back, everything is going to fall apart. I'm the one who always shows up, always holds it together. There's so much going on. I will just rest later. They're counting on me. I can't let them down. This is just the cost of being faithful. My needs need to come last. This man gives a very rehearsed story to Jesus. What story are you telling Jesus about why you can't be healed? Because Jesus is here asking you and me, do you want to be well? It's an invitation, not an insult. Because you'll be tempted to tell Jesus and yourself all the reasons why you're not well. But he's not asking for reasons. He's offering renewal. See, then Jesus said to the man, get up, pick up your mat and walk. If you want to be well, tell Jesus your story. But then let him answer your story with fresh action. When we are burnt out, we often think, I don't know, I just need more rest. I just need a night in with Netflix and a pizza and maybe a glass of wine and I'll feel better. But we tried that last Friday and it didn't work in the long run. We end up back in the same spot again, waiting for something to change, but changing nothing. When we're experiencing burnout, all we want is comfort and control. And so we go back again and again to the same things and the same stories that soothe us without realizing that we have created little cages for ourselves. We start thinking shorter and shorter term. We reach for comfort and control instead of asking the big questions about our possibilities. And eventually the familiar becomes the only thing that feels possible. But Jesus says, I'm going to remind you that so much more is possible than you know, but it will take action. Jesus sees this broken, tired man who had been living the same story for far too long. He sees him and he chooses him to heal, chooses him to be free. Have you ever been really tired, but then a friend calls and invites you to something amazing and suddenly you have way more energy? The man didn't believe in other possibilities anymore. Maybe you have forgotten the possibilities in front of you. There is a life of freedom and hope that Jesus is offering us. We're reminded in Galatians that it is for freedom that Christ has set us free. Stand firm then, and do not let yourselves be burdened again by a yoke of slavery. It is for freedom that we have been set free. You are chosen for freedom. Don't go back. The warning is real because we are tempted to go back to the cages and stories that feel familiar. This is why Jesus said to the man, get up, pick up your mat, and walk. Get up, move, time for a change, walk. Pick up your mat and take it with you. Do not save the spot here by the pool. You don't need it. Don't leave your mat to hold your space to return to. That old story is over. Now you walk in freedom. One of my kids is in high school, and just the other day, we were hanging out on the couch in the evening, and they dropped a wisdom bomb. Our conversation went like this. Them, I realized the other day that I have free will. Me, what do you mean? Them, I realized I can say no. I can go for a walk right now if I want. I have free will. I'm not stuck. It was an epiphany because, like so many of us do, a couple days before, they had said yes to something big to make someone else happy and then regretted it for days and was suddenly realizing for their own health, they were going to have to go back and say, I really would prefer not to. Freedom. It reminded me of one of my favorite letters in all of history. In 1956, E.B. White, a renowned author and essayist, was invited to participate in President Eisenhower's Committee of the Arts and Scientists, and it was a great honor. His written response simply said, Dear Mr. Adams, thanks for your letter inviting me to join the Committee of the Arts and Sciences for Eisenhower. I must decline for secret reasons. When we believe that it is for freedom, that we are set free, it changes everything. We have free will. We can say yes or no to ourselves, our responsibilities, our current schedule, the way we cook dinner, the ways we seek out comfort and control. I'm not claiming that it is easy to do any of that, but it all starts with the invitation to answer the question, do you want to be well? And if we do, two things must happen. We need to look to Jesus, and then we need to take action. Now, this man's healing was instantaneous and complete. Ours most likely won't be. I mean, I admitted at the beginning that I am feeling tired, even though a pastor should never be anything but overjoyed about Jesus. I am tired. Being alive, caring about work, my family, you, I can say yes to too many things. I can get overwhelmed by worry. But these are the things that pull me back from the edge. So remember that the definition of burnout is a state of physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual exhaustion, usually caused by chronic, unrelenting stress, especially in environments where your effort consistently outweighs your support, rest, and sense of purpose. See, burnout is a freeze response in the brain. So the answer is to interrupt it with support, rest, a sense of purpose, care for your physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual self. Let Jesus be part of that solution. So first of all, always first of all, accept Jesus' deep love for you. You are deeply loved without needing to do anything. God will not love you more tomorrow based on the grade you get today. God will never love you less. You can do nothing to earn God's love. God's love flows freely like living water that never ends. Your work, your family, the world belong to God. God cares and loves even more than you do. And you are allowed to redefine what winning and failing look like based on the fact that God's grace and love are real. You can pray from this place of reconnecting to God's power rather than asking God to give you more strength. Just make sure you're fully connecting to God. Now, it doesn't remove the struggle, but it does take the stakes and lower them when you know that you're not the source. God is. Your sense of rest and purpose and health can increase. Now, even if this is a leap for you today, science says that even 10 minutes of meditating on the idea of a loving God improves health. So just give it a few minutes of imagining a loving God. We can go to verses like John 15. I am the vine, you are the branches. If you remain in me and I in you, you will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing. As the Father has loved me, so I have loved you. Now remain in my love. Now, the second thing is we take action while connected to God. We've been given tools to heal our burnout. Our bodies were designed by God to live in the world, and we don't utilize the gifts that they are. Your body is a miracle. Now, burnout is not just a mental health issue. Burnout is a whole body issue. It is a freeze response that can be directly affected by a part of your body called the vagus nerve. So what is the vagus nerve? It is the longest and the most important nerve in the parasympathetic nervous system, the part of your body that is responsible for things like rest, digestion, healing, emotional regulation, heart health, basically every system in your body. It's called vagus because it means wandering in Latin. It wanders from your brainstem all the way down your neck, through your chest into your abdomen, and along the way it connects to your heart, lungs, stomach, intestines, liver, your voice box, your ears, even parts of your face. In other words, it's the super highway of communication between your brain and your body, especially for keeping your body calm, balanced, regulated. Randy Moradas, who taught last time, he is getting his doctorate in neuropsychology, and he told me a great dad joke about the vagus nerve. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, but what happens in the vagus nerve goes everywhere. So, burnout is not just exhaustion. It is a nervous system shutdown because your body hasn't been able to process everything you're receiving. We need to close the loop and let our bodies know they are safe. We need to do this way more often. And we do this through activities that improve the health, or what's known as the tone, of the vagus nerve. We literally strengthen it. Here are some things to do to strengthen your vagus nerve, the part of our body that can help with stress and burnout. The first one is Physical activity. It really helps because long ago, so many more of our dangers were physical, that our brain still uses physical activity to tell the whole system we are safe now. So you could run or jump up and down. It's the idea of maybe you had to run away from a lion or a hippo, and now you got away and you're safe. Your body needs that same elevated heart rate, and then it goes back down, and you feel so much better. That will strengthen your vagus nerve. A little bit of physical activity. The next one is a supportive community, positive social interactions. Being in a group was always safer before modern life, so spending time with safe people reminds our vagus nerve that we're good, we're safe. Another good one is real laughter. So this can't be forced. You can't be doing it for someone else's comfort. It's got to be true laughter. But that is so good for you, and it strengthens your brain so that you can handle stress and back out of burnout. The next one is affection. Being with someone that you can be affectionate with. A couple good benchmarks are a 20-second hug. And in this hug, you're both holding your own weight, but then you are embracing each other for 20 seconds. Or if you have someone that you are kissing, a 6-second kiss will also do the same thing. Now, different kinds of breathing on purpose, will also help with your vagus nerve to strengthen it. One is called a physiological sigh. It's something that babies do or puppies will do, where you take a long inhale and then one more tiny or two more tiny inhales, and then you breathe out slowly. Or you can breathe slowly in and then breathe out slowly, but breathe out even longer than you breathed in. Both of those will help with this. One that you may or may not want to do is have a real cry. Now, if you don't cry, you don't even know how to cry. If at some moment you feel like you want to cry, the way to do it so that it strengthens your vagus nerve is to, when that feeling comes on that you want to cry, you set aside the thoughts that are causing you to cry, and you just let the physical experience happen. That means you start to think about like the temperature of your tears or your body or how many tears are falling, where there's tension in your shoulders. You're just paying attention to sensation. You don't feed the crying any more thoughts. If you do it this way, it processes out the stress that you've been holding on to, and it ends in like 2 minutes. Another way is creative expression. And you can combine this with other things. So creative expression could be building something, making something, drawing something. You're creating something in the world. And you can combine all of these. So for example, I heard one woman say that when she was really upset and stressed about her job, she would go get on an elliptical machine, and then she would imagine herself stomping through the campus of where she worked. And it made her feel so much better, and it closed that loop, and it helped her move back from burnout. Or you can laugh about it, combine laughing with acknowledging how stressed you are, and you close that loop. I mean, the last one is a hard one, but when you have it, it will always help. It's to have even one person who cares about your well-being as much as or more than you do. In all of this, Jesus asks, do you want to be well? And in the safe, loving presence of God, we can receive the invitation, the interruption of our burnout freeze response, and start to see possibilities again. What could change in our lives so that we are not just barely outrunning the dangers and overwhelm we are feeling? Take a deep breath, go on a walk. Imagine Jesus saying, pick up your mat and walk. What would that new action look like in your life? We'll just finish by praying a verse that I find helpful when I get near burnout. It's Psalm 5:8, and it says, lead me, Lord, in your righteousness. Because of my enemies, make your way straight before me. Let's pray. God, thank you for these stories in the Bible that help us see ourselves, to acknowledge that there are times when we are not just exhausted, we are burnt out and we're frozen, we're stuck in a story. Lord, would you come interrupt us? Come interrupt each one of us who are feeling stuck and frozen and overwhelmed, and ask us that question that wakes us up. Do you want to get well? Lord, would we be willing to, of course, tell you our story and tell you how we're doing, but then when you tell us to pick up our mat and walk, that we would do it, that we would be able and willing to step into a new story in our lives, that we'll look at our lives and see what we might need to adjust, what we might need to do differently, so that we're not just using these tools to barely outrun burnout, but that we would really be living a life of freedom and safety, and our bodies would know it, our minds would know it, and we'd be able to move with a lot more freedom and hope. So I just pray for each person listening that we can do the work of picking up our mat and walking in a new way, just trusting that you love us more than we will ever understand. Jesus, it is in your name we get to pray. Amen.